when no one believes in you, when the world treats your silence as weakness and your ambition as arrogance. Remember this, every empire began in exile. They won't support you because your presence threatens their comfort. They sense the power you're about to claim, and it terrifies them. So let them doubt, let them whisper, let them betray. While they sleep, you sharpen your mind. While they scroll, you strategize. While they seek validation, you build dominance. Support is a luxury. Power is a necessity. And the moment you stop begging for approval, you become untouchable. This is not a game of kindness. It's a war of influence. You're not here to be liked. You're here to rise. Machiavelli said it best. It's better to be feared than loved if you cannot be both. So choose power, choose strategy, choose self-mastery. Comment, I move in silence, they move in fear. If you're ready to play the game the world hides. This is Machiavellian mode. And today you learn how to win when no one stands with you. Number 1, the isolation advantage. When no one supports you, understand you've just been given freedom. Isolation is not your curse, it's your crucible. When the noise fades and the applause dies, you finally hear your own strategy. Most men crumble without validation because they've never met themselves in silence. But this is where you evolve into something dangerous. Alone, your thoughts become sharp, your patience becomes a weapon, and your focus becomes absolute. The weak need support to move. The powerful create movement without it. Every time they doubt you, you grow colder, calmer, more calculated. This is how Machiavellian power is born, not in comfort, but in solitude. The lion hunts alone, not because he can't join the pack, but because he doesn't need to. Remember, isolation strips away illusions, and what's left is pure intent. Use it, shape it, refine it, until your will becomes steel. Stop expecting loyalty from those who fear your ambition. You don't need their energy. You need their doubt to remind you why you never stop. Comment, I forge power in silence. If you understand that solitude is not punishment, it's preparation. This is Machiavellian mode, where loneliness is your forge and power is your only companion. Number 2, the psychology of power. Power doesn't come from being liked. It comes from being undeniable. The Machiavellian mind understands this truth instinctively. While others beg for validation, you study control. You observe patterns, emotions, and weaknesses like a hunter tracking prey. You don't react, you calculate. Every smile, every silence, every gesture becomes part of your arsenal. You learn to read intent beneath words, to hear fear in confidence, and to detect lies in flattery. That's the psychology of power, seeing the truth that others hide even from themselves. Most people are predictable because they crave approval. They reveal their thoughts before they act. You must be the opposite, unreadable, composed, dangerous in your restraint. People trust those who make them feel safe, but they follow those who make them feel awe. That's where your presence must live, between fascination and fear. When someone doubts you, don't defend yourself. Let your results make them regret their judgment. When someone betrays you, don't rage. Note their nature and erase their access. Every insult, every slight, is a lesson in human behavior. You're not above emotions. You control them like a sculptor controls fire. Power demands emotional discipline. The man who masters his impulses rules those enslaved by theirs. Cold psychology is not cruelty, it's clarity. It means refusing to be manipulated by pity or praise. Remember this, loyalty fades, but leverage endures. Study people until you can predict them. Then position yourself where their moves benefit you, no matter what they choose. Comment, I see through illusion, I command reality. If you're ready to elevate your mind beyond emotion into strategy, because when you understand people better than they understand themselves, you no longer compete, you orchestrate. This is Machiavellian mode, where perception is your weapon, detachment is your shield, and mastery of the mind is the first law of dominance. Number 3, strategic detachment. Detachment is the ultimate power because it kills manipulation at its root. The Machiavellian mind knows that emotion is the leash society uses to control you. The moment they can provoke you, they own you. But when you detach, when you stop reacting, you become unreadable. untouchable. People thrive on emotional chaos. They want to see what breaks you, what angers you, what scares you. Never give them that satisfaction. Be still when they expect fury. Be silent when they crave reaction. Let them drown in their own noise while you build it in calm precision. Strategic detachment isn't coldness, it's control. It means your loyalty is measured, your empathy selective, your presence deliberate. You observe more than you speak, and when you finally act, it hits with surgical precision. Most people waste their energy trying to prove themselves. You waste nothing. You calculate timing, impact, and perception. Like a general mapping a battlefield, detachment gives you freedom from the opinions of others. It transforms rejection into data, betrayal into instruction, and failure into refinement. You don't chase, you attract. You don't demand, you position. The detached man radiates an energy that commands respect because he cannot be shaken. When people can't predict you, they fear disappointing you. That's silent dominance. You must train your mind to rise above drama, to watch from a higher plane where emotion becomes a signal, not a storm. Even kindness becomes strategic, given to strengthen alliances, not out of blind habit. Learn this. Care without attachment, act without hesitation, and lead without seeking validation. That's how you build presence that bends rooms and shifts outcomes. Comment, I feel nothing. I control everything. If you understand that detachment is not weakness, but evolution, because once you master emotional distance, you no longer live in reaction. You live in command. This is Machiavellian mode where stillness is your armor and composure is the throne from which you rule. Number 4, turning rejection into power. Rejection is the raw material of supremacy. Every time they ignore you, dismiss you, underestimate you, and they hand you fuel. The Machiavellian mind doesn't beg for acceptance. It extracts power from denial. When someone rejects you, they reveal what they fear, what they value, and what they think you lack. You take that information and forge it into strategy. You don't internalize rejection as pain. You transmute it into precision. The weak crumble when doors close. The powerful build new corridors. Rejection is proof that you're aiming higher than their imagination can handle. They can't see your value because your vision isn't meant for the blind. Let their disapproval sculpt you into something unrecognizable. Most people need validation to keep going. You need silence and resistance. Every no is a weapon sharpening your will. Every betrayal chisels arrogance into discipline. Every failure refines your cunning. Remember this. Machiavelli taught that perception governs reality, and rejection is merely perception. It means nothing unless you submit to it. You must condition your mind to convert pain into hunger, doubt into calculation, and loneliness into laser focus. When people exclude you, don't react emotionally. Study their motives. Understand why they made that choice, and then position yourself so they regret it. The true player of power never seeks revenge through words, but through transformation. You don't shout your comeback. You become the reminder that they misjudged you. Success in silence crushes louder than any confrontation. That's how rejection turns into dominance. It becomes the silent proof of your endurance. When the world turns its back, don't chase it. Make it turn around. Comment, my rejection is my rebirth. If you've ever felt cast out, but refuse to fold because that's the Machiavellian way. Never take rejection personally. Always use it strategically. The man who learns to harness rejection becomes unstoppable because nothing external can destroy him anymore. He feeds on doubt, thrives on adversity, and emerges colder, wiser, and infinitely more dangerous. Every closed door becomes an empire waiting to be built. This is Machiavellian mode where rejection is not defeat, it's initiation. And once you learn to turn every dismissal into direction, you no longer chase validation. You create inevitability. Number 5, mastering the art of control. Control is the essence of all power, and those who fail to master it are doomed to serve those who have. The Machiavellian mind understands that. Control begins within before it can ever extend outward. The man who cannot command his emotions, his impulses, and his reactions will always be ruled by those who can. Self-control is the purest dominance because it allows you to act, not react. When chaos erupts, you remain still. When others panic, you analyze. When others lose temper, you set traps. The world belongs to those who dictate the tempo, and control is how you dictate it. You must learn to regulate not just your expression, but your presence. Speak less, move deliberately. Let every gesture carry intention. People should feel your composure before they hear your words. This is how psychological gravity is formed, through quiet command. Never argue, never over-explain. Both are signs of lost control. Control isn't about suppressing emotion. It's about channeling it with precision. Anger becomes fuel. Fear becomes data. Desire becomes direction. When you master your inner domain, no insult can shake you. No betrayal can define you. No failure can enslave you. You become unpredictable because you no longer run on the same primitive triggers that move ordinary men. And when you master yourself, you begin mastering others, not through force, but through subtle influence. Control people by understanding what controls them, their desires, insecurities, and ambitions. The Machiavellian strategist never imposes power. He creates situations where others willingly surrender theirs. You control by giving illusion of freedom, by letting people think they're choosing while you've already designed the outcome. And this is influence at its highest form: quiet, invisible, absolute. When you can stay calm under pressure, when you can plan while others explode, you gain the ultimate edge. Authority without effort. Control also means knowing when to retreat and when to strike, when to appear weak and when to reveal strength. Most men expose much too soon. They leak power through emotion. You must move like a shadow, calm, deliberate, unreadable. Comment: I control the storm within, therefore I control the world. If you understand that power is not chaos, it's order under your command. Because once you master control, you no longer fight for dominance. You embody it. You become the silent force shaping outcomes while others chase distractions. This is Machiavellian mode, where control is not a choice. It's survival, strategy, and supremacy combined into one unbreakable mindset. Number 6, the shadow strategy. Power built in silence lasts longer than power displayed in vanity, because exposure invites weakness and attention breeds vulnerability. The Machiavellian mind knows that the moment the world can see your intentions clearly, but it begins crafting ways to neutralize you. The shadow strategy is not cowardice. It is supreme control through invisibility. You must learn to operate unseen, to mask ambition beneath humility, to conceal dominance behind calm indifference. When you move quietly, the noise of others becomes your camouflage. The masses crave recognition. You crave leverage. Every public boast is a map for your enemies, but secrecy is the fog that blinds them. When they think you are still, you are scheming. When they believe you are absent, you are infiltrating. When they assume you are defeated, you are rewriting the battlefield beneath their feet. The man who moves in silence controls both time and perception. To master the shadow, detach from applause and embrace the stillness of strategy. Applause is poison. It feeds ego, not power. You must starve ego until it obeys you. Those who need validation become slaves to the crowd. Those who operate unseen bend the crowd to their will. Secrecy magnifies fear, because what is unseen becomes myth. Let them speculate about your plans. Let them imagine your reach. Let them whisper your name in uncertainty. Fear built on imagination is stronger than fear built on truth. The shadow manipulator uses this instinct against the world, crafting illusions so believable that reality begins to follow them. You must build layers: what they see, what they suspect, and what truly is. Control all three. The visible man fights resistance. The invisible man shapes outcomes, influence through presence, but command through mystery. Even when you speak, reveal nothing. Speak less, listen more, and let silence become your most unnerving language. Stillness unsettles people because it mirrors their chaos. Every movement you make should appear accidental yet calculated. Every word deliberate yet detached. Do not crave trust. engineer it. Do not chase respect, command it. Your calm becomes a riddle. Your restraint becomes intimidation. They won't know if you are ally or threat, and that uncertainty is your weapon. Understand that every empire collapses when its ruler becomes predictable. Predictability kills fear. Unpredictability sustains control. Therefore, never act from emotion, only from design. The shadow strategist thrives by mastering timing. The moment to appear, the moment to vanish, the moment to strike. When others rush, you wait. When they hesitate, you move. To play from the shadows is to turn patience into dominance. You become the phantom behind every outcome. The unseen architect shaping fates without being mentioned. Remember, power revealed is power diminished, but power withheld multiplies. Comment: I move unseen, but my impact is undeniable. If you understand that the true ruler is the one no one sees coming, because once you master the art of the unseen, you transcend competition entirely. You don't win battles, you prevent them. You don't chase influence. You design inevitability. You don't speak of power. You become the gravity that others orbit. In this darkness, you are not hidden. You are sovereign. The world will fear what it cannot define, respect what it cannot predict, and follow what it cannot understand. That is the essence of the shadow strategy. This is Machiavellian mode, where silence is domination, invisibility is immortality, and control is absolute. Number 7, the ruthless discipline. Discipline is the dividing line between those who dream of power and those who command it. The Machiavellian mind understands that chaos is the natural state of men, and only through ruthless discipline does order emerge. Discipline is not motivation, it's obedience to your own command, execution without emotion, and precision without hesitation. You must become both the ruler and the servant of your own will. Every morning, every decision, every small act must serve the greater design. You do not wait for the perfect moment. You create it through relentless control of habit and focus. Weak men crave comfort. Powerful men use discomfort as fuel. The path of dominance demands self-denial. You must starve distraction, silence excuses, and punish inconsistency with merciless self-correction. Each time you choose effort over ease, you reinforce the steel in your character. Discipline isn't a task, it's an identity. The Machiavellian man builds his empire one controlled decision at a time, refusing to be enslaved by impulse. When you master discipline, you no longer need willpower. Your habits become automatic expressions of purpose. While others complain about their circumstances, you manipulate them. While others waste energy chasing fleeting pleasures, you build systems that produce lasting power. Every hour is a weapon, every minute an investment, every second an opportunity to outlast weaker minds. Ruthless discipline is not about denying yourself pleasure. It's about reserving indulgence until it serves strategy. Pleasure should be earned, never given. You must learn to treat your emotions like subordinates, useful but never trusted. When fatigue hits, you move. When doubt whispers, you act. When fear paralyzes others, you advance. Each act of consistency makes you more formidable. Your discipline should intimidate those around you, not through words, but through the cold predictability of your execution. The disciplined man is terrifying because he cannot be swayed. He obeys nothing external, and that makes him dangerous. People will call you obsessed, but obsession is only an insult to those who lack purpose. You are not here to fit in, you are here to impose your will on reality. The Machiavellian understands that self-control precedes world control. To master others, you must first prove mastery over yourself. Routine is your fortress, repetition is your ritual, focus is your weapon. Every day you operate with ruthless precision, you sharpen your dominance. Discipline makes you emotionless when necessary, patient when timing demands, and relentless when opportunity appears. You will not always feel powerful, but your habits will make you powerful regardless of feeling. Comment: my discipline is my dominion. If you understand that true authority begins in the mirror, because once you master discipline, you no longer fight your mind, you command it. The world bends to those who refuse to break. You will rise not because you are lucky, but because you are structured. In the end, discipline is the purest form of Machiavellian control. It's the quiet force that outlasts talent, emotion, and resistance. This is Machiavellian mode, where control becomes instinct, structure becomes strength, and power becomes inevitable. Number 8, the power of perception. Perception is the battlefield where real power is won or lost, and the Machiavellian mind knows that truth matters less than the belief you engineer. People rarely follow reality. They follow narratives that flatter their fears, hopes, and status cravings. To master perception is to master behavior, because humans act on impressions first and facts later, if ever. Every empire, every dynasty, every ruthless ascent began with someone choosing the image they would project and the doubt they would sow. The weak spend their lives defending against opinions. The powerful manufacture opinions until resistance exhausts itself. Your face, posture, tone, and timing are tools that can disarm, intimidate, or seduce long before logic enters the room. Therefore, you design your presence like a strategist designs a campaign. You do not speak to express emotion. You speak to shape perception, to plant frames, to define what everything means before anyone else can. If they perceive strength, they hesitate. If they perceive inevitability, they surrender. If they perceive mystery, they self-please. That is the silent leverage of image. Machiavelli warned that men judge more by the eye than by the hand, because everyone sees while few understand. Let them see only what fortifies your position. Calm when chaos erupts. Certainty when doubt spreads. Patience when desperation rises. Precision when noise peaks. Make your restraint look like superiority. Your pauses like calculation. Your distance like authority. You are not lying. You are curating. Perception is not deception, unless it betrays your design. It is the discipline of arranging signals so that observers draw the conclusions you require. The world rewards those who command interpretation. Facts without framing are powerless, while framing can animate even small facts into destiny. Build your myth intentionally. Choose 3 qualities you will broadcast relentlessly and align your actions, vocabulary, and aesthetics to reinforce them until they become undeniable. Guard your reputation like a fortress, not because you crave approval, but because reputation is leverage that speaks when you remain silent. A single consistent signal repeated over time becomes a law in the minds of others. Your rivals will try to stain it with rumor and petty drama. Respond with outcomes, not arguments, and let their noise age into irrelevance against your results. Perception management also means tactical vulnerability. At times you will appear unsure to provoke overconfidence, appear humble to invite confessions, appear busy to increase demand. You control the angles, the lighting, and the soundtrack. You decide what is visible, what is plausible, and what is mysterious enough to spark imagination. Imagination is your ally, because people fear what they cannot measure and respect what they cannot predict. Give them symbols to hold, phrases to repeat, and victories to witness. They will carry your narrative for you, defending it as though it were their own identity. This is the Machiavellian economy. Attention converts to belief. Belief converts to obedience. And obedience converts to power. To maintain the upper hand, separate your inner counsel from your outer theater. Share motives with no one who cannot advance them. The crowd receives spectacle. The trusted receives structure. Always keep an ace hidden, a talent and alliance, a resource that appears only when the board is ready. Predictability breeds contempt. Therefore, rotate between proximity and distance, revelation and silence, warmth and ice. Control the rhythm of your presence so others cannot map your patterns. When enemies attempt character assassination, do not duel with words. Shift the conversation to performance metrics you dominate and make them argue against outcomes everyone can see. People forget accusations when confronted with results that benefit them. Tie your image to tangible gains for others, and they will defend you for selfish reasons, which are the only dependable reasons. In private, train your mind to ignore insults unless they threaten your leverage. If a narrative harms capacity, replace it. If it merely scratches ego, discard it. Ego is a noisy data. Perception is a silent asset. Invest in the asset. Study the aesthetics of power. Clothing that signals intent. Words that compress. authority into lines, environments that make you the gravitational center, design entrances and exits, stand where light favors you, sit where vantage points multiply, let stillness do the talking. The longer you can hold calm, eye contact without tension, the more others project strength onto you. Master the pause, master the frame, master the summary that becomes the story people repeat after you leave the room. Comment, shape perception. Therefore, I control reality. If you understand that image is not illusion, but architecture, because once you command perception, truth bends toward your narrative, fear bends toward your image, and the battlefield bends toward your will. This is Machiavellian mode, where appearance becomes dominance, narrative becomes weaponry, and the man behind the mask becomes untouchable. Number 9, the art of ruthless. Patience. Patience is not passivity. It is power under absolute control. The Machiavellian understands that time is the sharpest blade, and those who rush cut only themselves. Ruthless patience is the art of letting the world reveal its weaknesses before you move. It is the discipline to wait when others panic, to observe when others act, and to advance only when every variable bends in your favor. The impatient crave recognition, but the patient carve empires in silence. You must detach from urgency because urgency is the scent of fear. When you feel desperate to act, you are no longer strategic. You are emotional, and emotion feeds your enemies. Patience, when weaponized, becomes psychological warfare. You frustrate rivals by not reacting, by not revealing, by not yielding to impulse. Every delay, every silence, every pause is calculated pressure. The man who can wait out the storm without blinking becomes the storm himself. In the game of power, most fall not from weakness, but from haste. They sabotage their own strategy by needing instant validation. But the Machiavellian plays the long game, knowing that domination is rarely loud, rarely quick, and never desperate. You must learn to let others destroy themselves with their own urgency. People expose their true motives when they are forced to wait, and your patience will reveal everything their words try to hide. When you control timing, you control outcome. Every move delayed is not lost. It is refined. Every silence endured is not emptiness. It is pressure building beneath your calm. You must see patience as positioning, not paralysis. Like a predator crouched in shadows, you don't chase opportunity. You stalk it. You study. You calculate. You wait for the moment when one strike ends everything. That is ruthless patience, decisive. Violence wrapped in quiet restraint. Impulse is for the weak. Timing is for the powerful. The greatest victories are not achieved by those who move first, but by those who move last when the enemy has exhausted all defenses. Let them waste energy. Let them expose plans. Let them reveal fears while you remain still. Stillness terrifies the restless. They will project meaning onto your silence. They will panic trying to interpret your calm, and that panic is the leash you hold. You do not rush to prove. You wait to dominate. Even in failure, patience converts loss into leverage because the patient mind extracts lessons faster than the reactive one. Remember, every delay you master adds weight to your eventual strike. Comment, I wait like a weapon. If you understand that patience is not weakness, it's control disguised as silence. Because once you master ruthless patience, no betrayal can shake you, no obstacle can distract you, and no opponent can outlast you. This is Machiavellian mode, where time itself becomes your servant and victory always arrives on your schedule, never theirs. Number 10, becoming untouchable. Becoming untouchable is not about invincibility, it is about control. So absolute that nothing external can break your equilibrium. The Machiavellian man does not seek safety, he creates inevitability. He builds himself into a system mentally, emotionally, strategically so fortified that opposition becomes irrelevant. To become untouchable, you must detach from dependency on approval, on comfort, on predictability. The world cannot manipulate what it cannot tempt. You must train yourself to feel nothing when others panic, to desire nothing that weakens your edge, and to expect nothing from anyone except betrayal. Once you accept that loyalty is fleeting and respect is conditional, you stop chasing both and start commanding them. The untouchable man is defined by indifference to chaos. He knows that control over the self is control over Fate. When the crowd reacts, he calculates. When they scream, he studies. When they crumble, he conquers. That is the energy that terrifies. Mediocrity. The calm of a mind that cannot be swayed. You must merge everything learned. Isolation as your foundation, psychology as your weapon, detachment as your armor, rejection as your teacher, control as your creed, shadow as your method, discipline as your ritual, perception as your fortress, and patience as your timekeeper. Together they forge the man who no longer participates in emotional wars because he has already won within. He becomes a phantom presence felt, respected, feared, but never touched. This is the state beyond reaction, beyond comparison, beyond competition. The untouchable man moves through life. Like inevitability, neither begging nor apologizing, simply executing, he does. Not announce, he arrives. He does not demand, he attracts. He does not chase, he chooses. Comment. I am untouchable because I control myself. If you understand that mastery over the self is the final evolution of power, because once you reach this point, no insult can destabilize you, no betrayal can surprise you, and no loss can define you. You have transcended weakness, and in doing so, you've transcended dependence. This is Machiavellian mode, the culmination of strategy, stoicism, and self-dominance. The world will not remember your emotions. It will remember your precision, your control, and your results. Stay sharp, stay silent, stay sovereign. And before you go, make sure to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications because power favors those who prepare in silence and act without warning.